Greetings, brothers and sisters, Venerable Grand Gamesquisitor Bartek here. We convene today to kick off a new series on the channel. You may have already seen the trailer for it, and if not, I'll put a link to it in the video description. The series is called Polish Export, and it's dedicated to raising the awareness of the origin of various games that are enjoyed by players globally. Being Polish myself, I strongly believe that one of the things that we as a nation excel at is making video games. And I'm not talking only about giants like CD Projekt Red with their Witcher series or Cyberpunk, though undoubtedly their spectacular rise to power and admittedly fall from grace have influenced and inspired many smaller Polish creators. That said, the indie dev scene in Poland is alive and kicking ass. That's why here on the show I'll be showing you reviews of games that you might have played or wanted to play but never knew they were made in Poland. Side note, you can also expect the odd review of a game from some more famed Polish studios on the channel, but not too often. Probably. Oh, and if you like what you see and want more in the future, hit subscribe, like, comment, and all that other algorithm goodness. Today we'll be looking at the Riftbreaker, but before we do, a few words about its creators. The game was made by Exor Studios from Szczecin in northwest Poland. This indie developer and publisher made their commercial debut in 2009 with Zombie Driver for the PC. As the title suggests, this was a racing game set in a zombie post-apocalyptic world where the player had to complete quests at the same time performing spectacular vehicular zombicide. The title got a warm reception and Exor Studios decided to port it to other platforms such as the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3. The studio then moved on to make Xmorph Defense, which launched in 2017 on PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. The game was an interesting mix between tower defense and a twin-stick shooter with a little twist. The player didn't defend Earth from the invaders. Instead, he took on the role of the precious natural resource exploiting aliens who by doing so were irreversibly changing the global climate. The job of the resource-hungry creatures who were controlled by a human player, oh the irony, was to defend mining equipment from the military forces of Terra. Ecology is also at the forefront of Exor Studios' newest production, the Riftbreaker. This game launched in late 2021 after spending some time in early access. Time, may I add, very well spent, as the title sits at very positive on Steam at the moment of making this video and a very respectable 8.2 from users on Metacritic. And in my personal opinion, it's amazingly good. There, I've said it. So what is the Riftbreaker? This is a hybrid game which masterfully combines mechanics of various genres. We have the action RPG elements from the likes of Diablo and Dawn of War 2. There's the fantastic horde-based defense aspect akin to They Are Billions, or Diplomacy is Not an Option. And finally, there's the automation of various supply chains on a scale that brings Victorio and Satisfactory to mind. That sure is a mix, but it's one that Exor Studios polished to a blinding shine. You play the role of Captain Ashley S. Nowak, which is a typical Polish surname, a scientist/commando tasked with preparing an alien planet, Galatea 37, for human colonization. To aid you in this effort is an AI encapsulated in the body of a mech, which the protagonist endearingly calls Mr. Riggs. You and your mech will be building, exploring, researching, shooting, fortifying, killing, and defending your base from literally thousands of local organisms who are not too happy about the fact that some metal bipedal being is scavenging in their backyard. The story mode is structured kind of like a movie. The ultimate goal of the game, which in fact is a single long yet interesting mission with changes of location, to which we'll get in a bit, is to build a rift back to Earth. This is a portal which will allow colonists to come, settle, and potentially, as has been in the past, exploit, damage, and finally destroy yet another planet. To build that rift, Captain Nowak will need to amass a lot, and I mean a lot of different resources. Some of them will be found in the starting location and will be used to construct the base and defense systems. And here comes the ecological aspect. In order to satisfy the needs of the project, the heroine will have to destroy a big chunk of the native flora and the vicious fauna protecting it. And she's painfully aware of that, and she makes it clear she's not happy with it.
I believe that we can do this in a better way. We have to defend ourselves and secure the necessary resources to set up the Rift Station. But we don't have to destroy all the wildlife we encounter. Humanity doesn't need another stripped-down factory world.
But as I said, all the resources necessary to construct a rift to Earth are not available in one spot. In order to get them, Captain Nowak will have to use smaller, much less complicated rifts which will teleport her to various locations around the planet. And these locations are wonderfully diverse. While the starting location is lush with greenery and a booming plant ecosystem, other regions of Galatea are not as friendly. They'd be outright deadly were it not for the ever-present protection of the tried and tested metal shell of Mr. Riggs. On your journey, which will take you across the biodiverse planet separated by loading screens similar to Fades to Black, followed by a scene change to return to the movie metaphor, you will encounter radioactive wastelands, sun-scorched barren prairies, and acid-filled biomes. In each of these you will have a different quest, from exploring the region and surviving in the process, to scanning unique life forms to advance your research, more on that in a moment, to setting up and fortifying a new outpost. These missions, if you will, are unlocked with the progress of the main plot, and the ones which are available can be done in any order. However, occasionally you will find out that an area is too dangerous and you need to buff Ashley out before you can complete the mission in that particular region. What you can do then is to return to your main base and upgrade your mech, because yes, there is a skill tree. In fact, the Riftbreaker has 3 of them. The first one is like a main tech tree where you can upgrade your buildings and structures. I'll skip to the third tree for a second. This one deals with alien tech and knowledge about the surrounding world. You gain access to it a bit later in the game when you reach a certain milestone connected with the story. And coming back to the second tech tree, well, this bad boy is all about outfitting Mr. Riggs with as much deadly bling as he can carry. And let's pause for a moment here. The mech can be armed with a plethora of ranged and melee weapons, as well as shield and sensor upgrades or equipment such as scanners and grenades. Mr. Riggs can wield 6 weapons at any given moment, but there are many more to unlock. There are power fists, battle hammers, spears, missile launchers, flamethrowers, heavy machine guns, or Gatling guns. Whatever your preferred tool for video game destruction, it's probably here. And for a good reason. The enemies in the game will require you to use different weapons to deal with them efficiently. For example, pretty early on in the game I went adventuring far too far away from my base and accidentally aggroed a mob who was resisting my attacks. He made it to my base and started taking down my walls and turrets, all at the same time gleefully letting me know that he was resistant to my Gatling gun shell attacks. That's it, I thought to myself. I can't fight this abomination. Screw this unbalanced game. And then I remembered that I had grenades and proximity mines equipped and started to hurl them at the creature, eventually taking it down. Immediately I thought, wow, that was an oh shit moment. Well played, Exor Studios, well played. In fact, there are many situations in the game where you have this, well now I'm screwed feeling. This can happen when you see a random asteroid flying way too close to comfort to your base, or when an earthquake hits, or when you're literally shelled with a meteor shower that deals huge damage to your structures. There are many small mechanics that make this game very enjoyable and immersive. An example from one of my escapades to the sun-drenched area of the planet. As I didn't yet have heat shields researched for Mr. Riggs, standing in direct sunlight caused me to take damage, but as soon as I stepped in the shade, the damage stopped. It's the little things like this that make this game huge and highly playable. A few words about what everyone can see, which is the graphics. The game, for me at least, is pure eye candy. It's colorful, but not oversaturated. The creatures, of which there are tens if not hundreds of types, the structures, the explosions, the environments, and the animations, it all blends really well. Like a satisfying meal that will make you happy that you just ate more of it than you should have, but at the same time without making you ill from overeating. The sound is also top-notch. Ashley and Mr. Riggs' voice actors do a good job at portraying their characters without going overboard. Their delivery is believable and pleasant to the ear.
Okay, Mr. Stubborn. I guess it won't hurt to set up some solid defenses, just in case.
Thank you, Captain Novak.
You're welcome, Mr. Riggs.
The music and sound effects are also brilliant and complement the visuals of a distant other world.
Not enough ammunition to operate defensive towers.
Apart from the awesome and extensive story mode, there's also a sandbox mode and a survival mode where you can tweak all the settings to your heart's content to make sure you get the experience that's as pleasant or as unforgiving as you want it to be. Do I recommend the Riftbreaker? I do. Wholeheartedly. Not because it's Polish, but because it's a deep, amazing, compelling, and incredibly well-polished game that brings immersion, tension, and strategic thinking to the table, all the while not being infuriatingly stressful or frustrating. This is simply what games should be. Fun and enjoyable. So what did you guys think about the Riftbreaker? Have you played it already? Are you planning to? Are you skipping this title? Let me know in the comments. The game is currently on sale on Steam for $22.50 or 22.5 euros, or for 75 Polish zlotys. Oh, and it's free on Game Pass for the PC and Xbox consoles. The game's also available on PS5. Okay, that's it for today. Please remember to like if you liked, dislike if you disliked, and subscribe if you're looking for more content like this. Also drop a comment with feedback on the video or just pop in to say hi. The links to my social media and the Steam page with the Riftbreaker are in the description below. As always, thanks for watching. I'll talk to you next time. Bartek out.